a lot of these vibrations and things that have been unhealed have been passed down for generations and generations. So there's a lot of healing that needs to go on in the world. And we want to be able to kind of celebrate the healing that we've done and be able to uplift each other and support each other for the healing that we're going through or the healing that we are seeking. So that's what we're going to be exploring tonight. What Masu found earlier today was a really interesting definition about healing that stood out to me because it said that healing is the process of realizing one is sound and whole. My homie Moon Magic, the hip hop witch, she posted something about healing and how healing is not creating this polarity where you separate all the high vibe shit from your low vibe shit. That's actually not healing. Healing is the one circle that includes all of it, right? So the grief isn't down here and then, the happiness is up here. The healing is actually to be whole and complete where you're human in the center, and then it had the grief, it had the love, it had the joy and the happiness, the sadness, all integrated into one thing. And I thought that really matches with that idea of being whole. And it also matches with what we always talk about when we come to FlowFam, to recognize that everybody here is whole and complete. The other part that I really liked about it was the part about being sound. And I thought it's interesting because we're here playing with sound. In the same time, we're trying to be sound, like we've got this grounded, solid foundation. So I thought that was very appropriate that we're going to be playing with this in a state of sound, but integrating the mind, integrating our body with our movement, the somatics, as well as the emotional, and then sometimes maybe it even incorporates some of the logical side. The key for my healing has been the mastery of context and perspective. It's been about realizing that what we think is reality in our heads is absolutely not reality. First of all, because it's seen through our own lens, but also that our lens is very poorly informed. We build most of our ideas about what's real or what we believe from our sight. I saw a stat that said 80% of what we actually build our world upon and our belief systems upon are things that we see. And we see 1/3 of 1% of 1% of what's actually out there. Our field of vision, what light we can actually detect, is less than 1% of 1%. So we really can't see most of the energies that are out there. We can't hear most of the audible spectrum either. We barely hear anything. We can barely smell anything. Our senses just aren't equipped to even really understand the universe. So we're building our idea about what's true about us, what's true about other people, what's true about anything off of less than 1% of 1%. And that is changed by our personal biases, which are from things that we might have been misinterpreted, right? Or misunderstood or not seen the whole picture of. So for me, one of the things that really helped me with my healing is thinking about 2 of the 4 agreements with Don Miguel Ruiz. One of them is not to make assumptions, because pretty much every time I think somebody sees me a certain way or something's bad, I'm usually assuming that based on, again, a very small percentage of taking in reality. And then also, don't take things personally. So I realized that almost every time in my life that I believed something about myself, there was an assumption somewhere in there, and there was me taking it personally somewhere in there. I can eliminate those 2 things by trying to take in as many perspectives as possible. So I definitely think context is important. And in that way, we kind of create our own reality. So when I look at all the possibilities, all the reasons why this could have happened, I could pick the one that serves me the most. I could pick the one that allows me to heal the most. And it doesn't matter if it's true or not, because, I mean, nobody really knows what's true anyway. We're all just totally blind, just seeing like a tiny little sliver of dot of light coming in. It's like Plato's cave, the allegory of the cave. Like we're just looking at little shadows dancing around, and we're not even seeing the whole shadows, and we're deciding that this is how it is. Like, it's kind of crazy to me to think that. One of the ways that I have been able to heal from it was by looking at the situation that killed my confidence when I was in the lunch line and my first crush told me that I was conceited, right? I was working with a coach, Rob Wong, at the beginning of the pandemic, and we were trying to heal that wound, right? Where I actually felt more scared to be successful than to fail because I thought it would turn me into this conceited monster again. And he asked me to approach it from a different perspective and to think about the context of the situation more. And I realized the context of the situation. This girl was very competitive and she wanted to be the best. And she knew that I was beating her for certain awards every year. So was she putting me down because of a different angle? Like, was she trying to hurt my confidence or make me lesser so that she could be the best? It might have been that way. It really might have. And then from another angle that he helped me see, he was like, okay, well, you're a teacher. What if you witnessed that conversation? And then you saw how devastated this little Chris kid was and how hurt he was by that. What would you say if you went up to have that conversation with him? And I realized it was nothing like the conversation I'd been having in my own head with myself all those years. Like, not at all. Being able to have that conversation and realize this is what I would say to myself if I was his teacher helped me to heal from that.
One thing that came up with what she is sharing and what I've been very present to is manifestation. And being present to the angles that I was emotionally charged, emotionally attached to, of wishing I could have done things differently. As she has mentioned, where are we coming from reflects back at us, this reality that we're seeing, and just us, just like ourselves. And I love having to realize by different channelers and different people that are talking about physical realities. Neville Goddard's practice, Joe Dispenza, and I feel like these are all relating. These are all breadcrumbs to know that so long as we practice who we choose to be, we get to eventually have the physical reality bend space and time so that it can manifest, which is to reveal the visible into visible, perceiving where we see ourselves in the vibration of. So there's a lot of things I let go as a form of healing. So it's okay for all the mistakes that has happened. There were all lessons. And that brought the biggest level of self-love for myself, and which has me expand my journey with dance and seeing Zumba as a possibility to make my second income stream ever after working in this job of 18 years. So it's just manifesting where I'm at right now, manifesting that it feels great to have done my first class and how people felt. So I'm healing by practicing the notion of feeling is a secret. Feeling that as if I were already healed, like Joe Dispenza has referenced. So healing as if I'm already healed is where I'm most present at right now. So yeah, it's already done.
Healing is an interesting topic. I really like that definition when I drop it. The process of realizing one is sound and whole. You know, I'm human like anybody else. There's times where I don't actually feel whole. What I will say though, is that during this time in my life, more than ever in my life, what has grounded me, what has allowed me to sift through my thoughts, my fallacies, is writing and recording music. That has been my savior in a way. I have a deep reverence for music than ever before now. Because of that, if I was an artist with a paintbrush, I'd probably think that it's the canvas. But the canvas for me is a Google document and then GarageBand and my Rodecaster inside of it. That's what has me thinking that I can evolve FlowFam to another realm, because it's not just freestyle inside of this or what's be coming out of my mouth. It's more thoughtful speaking. You're more thoughtful preaching. Just put in careful thoughts to think about what I really want. So another thing that really helps is like when I'm making music, I create something called a CPR for my songs. and really getting hyper intentional about what are the results I want out of the song, what's the purpose, and what's the context that I'm holding in the songs. And it makes me realize that all the stuff that I'm learning, from the men's work to, you know, the Tony Robbins or different things, like it's like I'm synthesizing all these different aspects. So music, the CPR creation to create the intentionality for it has been incredibly healing. And then thirdly, is to share with other people and to be open with whatever their responses are. Those that don't care too much about what we think we have to say, or they're just crickets, it really has us like really look at that and see, why am I making the music? I really wanted to just like, I don't even use the word God, but thank God for music. It saved my life in a way. And one last thing that I'll say that I'll never forget is on June 11th, after I recorded Rebirth Day, that was when my mom was actually lucid. I came back later that evening, and then I played her Rebirth Day on my phone because I put it on my iTunes. And I remember that when I played it to her, I played it above her, right on her right ear there. And I remember just the way that she looked at me. It was unlike anything. And I could tell like she was like, that's you, son, you know? I'm like, that's amazing. And that was the last time that I was able to lock eyes with her, sharing her that song. So that was very special, you know? Music touches people even when they can't speak, you know what I mean?
I just remember thinking like, I miss FlowFam. I want to go back to one, and the universe somehow made it happen. My client got sick, and so I didn't have to go to work, and then now here I am. And so it's a full circle moment for me, where it's just like I've literally just been thinking about, dreaming about this Masu and Wukong were present at the time where I needed healing the most. And it was a very fucking raw moment for me, like really fucking raw, like the most raw like I've ever felt in my life. And I just like broke down, and it was fucking painful. But that was like years and decades of like pain that I was like holding on to. When I'm in school, like I can tell all my classmates that most of them are in their 20s, you know, junior, seniors, and a couple older people like in their 40s and 50s and 60s. But like for me, I can tell my classmates are dead. Like they're like just dead inside. Like they're like zombies. And I can just tell like they all need healing of some sort. And they're all trying to go to this class, and it's the thing that they're trying to get by. To them, like the group project is just a thing to get done and over with. Whereas for me, I see opportunity for healing. I'm coming at my future career as a different angle, where I'm like, wow, this could be the avenue for greater healing, for community resources, for bringing people together. But like when I share this like enthusiasm, like it just falls flat because they're not even present to that. Like they're just like, most of them are like, they're good people, they want to like do good things, but spiritually it just feels dead and stagnant. And it just made me really present to like how much healing we need in this collective society still. And I thought we were kind of like in this phase of like people waking up, like they're kind of realizing what's going on, what we need, you know, like I think everyone kind of is aware of like inner work, but there is still so much more work to be done. And I just couldn't help but just think about like, what was the key component, you know, for me, my professional development, my professional career. I've been trying to chase all the professional tools, all the like professional techniques, all the resources, and all the strategies to help people heal, right? Like the container, the techniques, the structure. But then I realized like in hindsight, like what led to my biggest healing was really just presence. And that's what FlowFam brought. And it just made me realize, I think stillness is still the key, you know, to everyone's healing. You know, the stillness, just the still the catalyst for healing and for being able to create space in our lives. And I think the theme for the second half of the year has been learning how to create space between the notes, whether that's creating more time for rest, for non-stimulation, for innermost thoughts to kind of naturally come through. Just like right after post-COVID, as everyone just went back into like trying to go back to the way things were. It's like we just like fuck COVID, like fuck the healing, fuck like that. Like more than 1 million people lost their loved ones. So I said, oh, it's just a thing, you know. We just move on. Like there's no conversations around that. It's just like always on to the next thing. There's always on to the next bigger thing, right? And if we don't take time to actually slow down and process what we need to process, it leads to things like what's going on in Israel and Gaza. But like, cause they haven't had time to process. They're just still holding on to the baggage, you know. But yeah, just shout out to FlowFam and Master, a fucking leader, man. Your leadership shines all the way through. Thank you for creating this space for my life to be completely transformed in a way that I'm able to experience the fruits of that space and that presence. And because of me being able to experience that, I'm able to provide that space for others. That I can be a leader in that sense as well. I'm in this moment of flow where I'm able to do what I need to do, but I'm also able to surrender very beautifully. It's a great place to be in. I just want to take this moment in time to acknowledge the journey that all of us have been on, and for everyone's leadership and for everyone's healing. What I now see as a correlation for healing is the ability to lead ourselves and each other home. Because I think we're all just looking for a place or some kind of semblance of like, yo, can I just be me here right now, my own body and my own mind? It's hard. It's hard fucking work, but I think when the space is cultivated, that's where magic happens, and I'm experiencing magic in a lot of ways. But thank you. It's crazy to see this full circle moment.